Test, test, test. Good morning, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order 8:30 a.m. And we have in front of us an agenda. Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda? If not, can I get a motion to approve? Councillor McCook. All those.
Sorry, do you want to, I didn't have my mic on. It's okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
we're good. Councillor McCook approves the agenda as presented. All those in favor? Carried. 1.2, approval of minutes. Everybody had a chance to read over the minutes from the Committee of the Whole from February 17th? Sure.
I'll make the motion to approve the February 17th, 2026 Cal meeting minutes as presented.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. New business 2.1, undeveloped road request. Yeah, the Conkin Show. Good morning. Good morning. You have the floor. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. So on January 13th Council meeting, Council directed administration to go review an undeveloped road request for potential of a project. So after reviewing that site and reviewing our policies and policies and procedures, that site would be following the policy 13-39, which is our construction of undeveloped road allowance. So within that road policy, virtually if someone wants to develop, or a ratepayer wants to develop a undeveloped road allowance, they would come to the county, we would direct them to that policy and help them follow the steps through that procedure. So virtually they would apply, and then they would pay a fee of $750 through our master rates bylaw to have an engineered assessment on that. So that is just a high level assessment on that undeveloped road allowance to determine environmental impacts, virtually just determining what level that road needs to be built at, what environmental impacts are going to be considered in that. If no environmental impacts are needed, no bridges, nothing like that, it's a pretty straightforward process at that point. The road would be built to our Schedule A standard in our MSA. The reason we build those undeveloped roads to a standard is because after they are built, they become a Kneehill County asset that we are liable to maintain, and anything that happens on those roads comes back to us at that point. So that being said, that particular site, it would require some environmental assessments, quite a bit of work there, along with bridge structures. So at that point, that's where the landowner would be taking that on and paying for that engineering and the contractor to build that road up to the standards. So is there any questions on the process there?
Councillor McCook.
Yeah, just getting back to that, we talked a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about this prior on dollars and cents, and you had some rough numbers that you can throw at us, or you did throw at us. Those are bridge files. It doesn't matter how many pipe we put in. It is fish-bearing stream, correct?
That is correct. So it's within 2 kilometers of a Class C water body, so that automatically triggers environmental fish-bearing. Bridge files are the combination of any amount of culverts up to 1,600 mils. So as soon as you put 2 900 millimeter culverts in a new build, it's registered as a bridge file.
And that being said, along with that, just the prelim was over 100,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of money to be spent right away up in front, and the bureaucracy that hangs around us here, it's a slow process. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Anderson, and I've talked a little bit with the landowner, with the Mr. Ferguson on that, and I mean, we'll probably have to look at other ways because this is going to cost. This is going to cost big time. like minimum 100,000 for just a prelim. Like, that's without sticking pipes in and waiting for permits and blah, blah, blah.
That is correct. The way the policy's written now is like the person developing that road allowance would be incurring those costs. But that is correct, yeah. Bridge files are upwards of a year for environmental improvements. Approximately the same size bridge files are coming back 500,000 to 600,000 roughly to get installed. And then not to mention there would be a half-mile road built, so, which is also not a cheap venture right now, so.
Councillor Olson.
And then we'd be responsible for that road after.
Through the chair, that is correct. So that bridge file would then become an asset of the counties. We would be liable for replacement, and any damages, anything that happens with that is now our.
Councillor Anderson.
At one time, because I have built my own road and had to do it because at that time that was the options. There was the cost at that time if the landowner, and I'm just checking for information purposes, the cost was refunded partially at one time. Has that policy changed?
Through the chair, that is correct. I believe it was in 2018, if I'm recalling correctly, we changed that. We used to do a cost share. I believe it was 25% the county was funding, but that was tied to a development permit. People were supposed to, and planning might be able to message some more information on that. If someone were to develop down that dirt trail road, we would cost share that rebuild, what was happening. And we ended up having 8 or 9 roads in a year that we cost shared that just ended up going nowhere. No development was happening on them. They were just virtually access to farmland that we were paying for. So that changed in, I believe, 2018-ish.
Okay, any other comments, concerns?
I'm not sure if it's appropriate or anything, but Mr. Ferguson, can Mr. Ferguson ask any questions through the council here while he's here on that, if he needs to?
The committee of the whole meetings are less rules as a council meeting, so if council wants him to speak, are all in favor of him speaking, I can't see a problem with it.
Yeah, Don, if you got any questions or concerns, come forward and if you want to talk, and thanks.
So I'm agreeing with everybody that this is going to be cost prohibitive to do, so, but I have been working on a plan B with a neighbor to access it by buying easement on his land. And I think this might move forward. But past councils, this council in past has paid him for access around this same place I'm building. And he built a laneway there, and council paid him an annual fee to let him to access this same property. This Robert Charlebois told me that they used to pay him to do that. And the only reason that stopped was because the farmer that was doing it, his machinery got so big he kept tearing out the fences on both sides of the access, and so he put a stop to it. He wouldn't give him access anymore to use it. So this council has in the past recognized an obligation to provide some access to that. So I'm willing to buy this easement, which is going to cost me pretty close to what it's going to cost me just to get this approvals, but at least I'll have a road to get this easement. But I was hoping that the council might supply me with some gravel to gravel my road because of the fact that they have spent money other years on this same thing all the time to get me access. And you have that bunch of gravel that's off spec. I was hoping I could get some of that off spec gravel to gravel my road once I build it. But I've got to pay for the easement, build this road, and I've recognized that that's my obligation to do that. But I'm really hoping I get a little bit of help with it because, like I say, past councils have paid money every year for access to this land. And I guess that's all I got to say. Thank you for your time you've put into this, and you, Mike, too.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Appreciate your comments, and we'll have to look into a couple of things, but I guess we as a council will have to decide if we can help you out and go from there. I don't see why we can't. But Mr. McCook Councillor McCook has a comment?
Yeah. One of the things that I'd like to see, and I mean, it is, I mean, we get stuck in all these policies and everything on why we can't build a road, or why, roads used to be what our #1 priority was around here. And I think we've got to get back into that again a little bit. And I mean, if we can help people out to get access to their lands on something like this, especially when they're willing to put money into it, I think we should really look at it and go from there. I want to just state this first. We want to be careful with some of that gravel that's sitting in stockpiles, because we had issues with it before. I want to just make sure and double check on a couple things. Kosher, #1. But that's something we can discuss. Yeah, thanks.
Councillor Olson.
Yeah, just a question for Mr. Ferguson there. Was there a caveat on the property for that easement, do you know, that we were paying for? And I'd like to find out what we're, yeah, well, yeah.
Councillor McCook.
Yeah, I think what we should do is, or I think, I'd like to recommend to council for that we get some information back on this, the prior easements, et cetera, land use, and bring it back to council so we can maybe talk this over.
Councillor Olson.
Yeah, also, have you talked to any council on this easement thing? Because I think the province has to allow you access to that property, but. Who does? The province, because I've had similar instances. I actually own a piece of property up at Athabasca, a quarter, and we share an easement, and there's rules, and that's on the caveat, that easement. So, and there's three owners that are adjoined for that, but I was told that the province has to.
Is it on the road lots? The access?
No, it's not.
So it's similar to this. You know, I got no idea. I'm only.
Come to the mic for us, as I'm sure there's people watching and listening about your situation and would like to hear.
Okay,
Perfect, thank
so
you.
I'm kind of new to this, so I didn't realize that there was such a provincial thing. I kind of thought the county was supposed to supply access to these landlocked properties, but maybe it's the province. And I have no idea It would be nice if I could get some sort of help with this easement, because like I said, it's going to cost me a lot of money, and I still got to build a road.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. I would talk to council, because the county follows the provincial
Yeah,
rules when it comes to,
sure, but you think the provincial rule is something about where they have to provide access? Is that what you were saying?
yeah, that's what I was told.
Yeah. I don't know.
Something to check. I would check that.
Yeah, I don't know where to check that. I guess you guys would be able to check that a lot easier than me.
I think we have an expert just arrived.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to clarify, so we do have to provide legal access, which the grid system does. Physical access comes with subdivision. So when somebody goes to subdivide land, we will not, sorry, I ran. When somebody goes to subdivide land, we will not do it without that upgraded road. And that's something that whoever's doing that subdivision has to have access, and that's when the physical becomes critical. Because then they can develop those lands. So it is that township range grid that gives you that legal access. Whether you can actually physically get there or not is not ours to provide.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCook,
Yeah,
Councilor McCook?
that's probably, that's our stand here, but I mean, if we can help a ratepayer get on to something, I think that's our job too.
Well, I guess from my point of view, any help I can get would be appreciated.
Okay, I guess we'll have to talk about it as a council as to what direction we can help you out and figure out a game plan to get you in there by spring.
Sounds good.
Because it's coming fast.
Yeah, and, you know, I think I can get some access for spring. Mr. Charlebois is very easy to deal with, although, like everybody else, he would like well paid for it.
Right.
For it. So I'm pretty sure I can achieve access to seed my crop, but any help I can get down the road would be awesome.
Perfect. Yep, absolutely. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Mr. Conklin.
We, through the chair, we do have some historical information on the stuff council was just talking about. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but there was a small period of time where the county did pay part of the easement. That specific site has been come back and forth through council since the 60s. There's records of it going back to then. 70s it came for a potential road build then, and the 90s as well. Each time council determined that it was not cost efficient to build the road as we were talking about, but I don't think a whole lot had been looked into for the help on the easement side back then anyways, so. But we will, administration will get you guys that information as soon as
Okay.
possible.
Perfect, thank you. Any more discussion on the matter? I guess we can receive this information as, oh,
Oops, sorry.
go ahead, Councilor McCook.
If everybody's in agreement, I just thought we'd recommend this to council to bring back to council with,
Okay.
and get more information for us.
Sounds good, thank you. Moving on to 2.2, transportation. Do we need a vote on that? Okay.
Let Ms. Carolyn write the motion.
Sure.
She's on it.
Okay. I was thinking it was just a recommendation to. Okay, the motion is in front of us. Do we need to read that back, or is everybody comfortable with it? Maybe read it back for the people listening.
Okay, that the committee of the whole recommend to council, recommend to council to direct administration to bring back further information regarding the easement on the land discussed at the meeting.
Okay, any more discussion? Councillor Whitstock.
So is that all we're looking for, is information on the easement? Because, I mean, when I look at this report, I don't see any pictures, I don't see any land locations, I don't see anything. Is that are we just looking at the easement itself? Because I'm trying to figure out what council's gonna look at when we get the information on the easement. It's a question to council.
Yeah.
No, I think, oh, pardon me.
Councillor Olson?
Yeah, I think we're trying to get more of the history of what's happened there and to make a better decision later on here. That's what I took more information as.
Councillor McCook?
Well, what we can do too is with the meeting, with the motion, bringing back all the information. Mike, you had, prior to that, you had the photos of this exact place where he was going. And that could be part of the information with the land, and then on the Charlevoix side, that stuff there be the same.
Go ahead.
Through the chair, I don't have any information on where he's trying to gain private access through. We can definitely bring back the information regarding the road right-of-way that is adjacent to this. I guess following that policy, it's pretty much not going to move forward unless council directs us to move forward with that road development in that aspect, or if Mr. Ferguson applies through the policy and follows that procedure. We just got verbal quotes from some engineer firms just to get a rough idea. Two of them did a quick site visit just to determine whether there would be bridge files. So,
Councillor McCook?
Yeah, he's definitely not going to go against or go build that road through there. He's looking at easement now through Charlevoix. Mr. Anderson probably could help us out or help you out on that.
I mean, until they actually survey their easement, what can I show you? I can show you the path, we can drive up the road, but until they actually do any surveying, I've got nothing to look at, it's just drive along the edges of the weed.
and, oh, sorry.
Councillor Penner?
If I'm understanding the situation, unfortunately, the responsibility totally sits with the ratepayer as far as the easement with another landowner. I don't think that's a place where council can have much input or much direction. We would need our ratepayer. I believe that responsibility for that easement, since it's with another ratepayer, another landowner, I don't see where we can have much effect on that situation. That would be my thoughts.
Correct, yeah. Councillor Olson?
It just goes to with regard for what were we paying for years past or different things like that. Like, we need to find out that, right? So that if we were being unfairly helping one ratepayer over the other, I don't want to be doing that. So I think we need to find out what was happening with that easement.
Yeah, so I guess more information on the history of the easement that was there in the past, where it was. I mean, we might need a map or two to show us exactly what we have on file that may be included. I guess any other information that's pertinent to this case would be helpful too. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if I'm understanding that correctly, I'll bring back history of everything I have on this site and planning has for development requests and stuff going in past history. Councilor Penner is correct there. That is a private road at that point. If council wishes to gravel a private road, we absolutely could look into that and accomplish that when that time comes. But yeah, we will gather all that information up and send it out as a package, and we can bring it back to council probably on the 24th there if needed, so.
Okay, thank you. Motion on the table, any other discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Now we'll move on to 2.2, transportation orientation. Again, you have the floor.
Good morning again, council. So this transportation orientation is just going to give you guys a high-level overview of the transportation department, the many sub-departments within that, and some of the tasks and policies that we accomplish throughout the year. So transportation department is obviously in charge of operating, maintaining, and improving the county's road and bridge network. So that includes our gravel roads, paved roads, snow and ice control, drainage, culverts, and then any of the capital projects that are involved in all of that as well. Obviously, our goal is to ensure safe and reliable roads for residents, agriculture, and industry, and ensuring that everyone's got a safe road network to travel. So just some fun facts then. So our gravel program uses approximately 125,000 tons a year for our regraveling. That equates to approximately 400 miles done per year. Gravel roads, we got just under 2,000 kilometers of gravel roads, about 82 kilometers of paved roads, 500 kilometers of dirt trails. Currently, we have 9 stockpile sites. We got 4 hamlets. And then we have 212 bridge structures. So big bridge structures, as we were just discussing, are those combined culverts of 1,600 millimeters and above, all the way to 3-span bridges and all that. So we have quite a few of them. So, excuse me. So just some, sorry, I'm a couple slides down. One more. Thank you. So these are just some of the related policies and relevant legislation that we are following. So county policies that transportation has, obviously 13-2, our level of service, that's winter and summer maintenance. Road ban exemption, so that's an ag road ban exemption. So road ban season's coming around the corner here. So agricultural has that opportunity to apply for a road ban exemption. It's mainly meant for those residents that are landlocked on one of those road banned roads. So we've got our road building standards. Just gives us a standard that we're building to, so everyone's on the same page when we're doing that. Dust suppression. So that policy goes over residential dust suppression along with commercial dust suppression. Our road use agreement policy is our newest policy there. It is meant to help with industry and give them some rules to follow on our road use agreements and stuff. Approaches and construction guidelines, road allowance brush control, maintenance of dirt roads. So that outlines what we are accomplishing with those dirt roads per year currently. And then obviously 13-39, our construction of undeveloped road allowances. So those are Kneehill County policies. There's a few that still weren't in there, but those are kind of the big hitter ones. So these are some relative legislation that we have to follow. So Fisheries Act, Migratory Birds Convention Act. So there is a time period where we are not allowed to be cutting brush down, and then if we need to, there's environmental sweeps that need to happen. It's a lot of time-consuming stuff. There's a lot of protected birds that fly through the area. The Transportation Act, the Water Acts, Public Land Acts, Traffic Safety Control, and the Traffic Safety Act. So these are all policy or legislation from higher governments models that we have to follow and make sure we're meeting. If we don't follow them, it opens up the county to legal liability, so. Those water acts, those can end up in jail time if people are playing around in water when they're not supposed to be, so it's not something we take lightly, so. So just some of the key responsibilities for summer maintenance. So blading gravel roads, re-graveling. Our dust control program is quite an extensive program. Culvert repairs and replacements, crack sealing on our paved roads, and then just general road repairs. As you guys can see in the photo there, this is a road that had the shoulder slide away, and we went in there and had to get down to the slip plane and build back up to ensure that road was safe and usable. Winter maintenance, just some of the tasks are snow plowing, the priorities routes program, or the priorities that we follow with that. Our stockpiling program for our summer regraveling, that is a very big program we run during the winter. The brushing program is also mainly takes place in the winter. Hamlets and parking lot snow removal is another huge task that we take on during the winter. So for grading, for graders, sorry, we have 10 divisions currently. They're all approximately that 193 kilometers, 195 kilometers averaged out. Graders can blade approximately 7 to 12 kilometers a day. Currently, we are on 6 rotations per year according to our policy, level of service policy. That takes about 17 days to complete one rotation. That is obviously weather dependent and breakdown dependent and that, so usually we meet 17 days, no problem. There's been very little issues with that. We have one roamer grader that helps maintain high traffic roads anywhere that needs to be bladed more often. Along with that, that roamer is the main grader for the dust control program, and that takes up about 2 months of the year for that grader. So. Dirt roads are bladed about a minimum of 2 times a year per our policy. So that, and that does not include, the spring fixes. Sometimes there's quite a bit of damage on those roads from spring flooding, and we have to spend a lot of time on those roads and get them fixed up for everyone to access their fields. So dirt trails there, we got 500 kilometers, as I was saying. According to the policy there, minimum blading twice a year. So with those dirt trails, they are not plowed in our normal rotation for winter. Industry and ratepayers are allowed to call in and request that the road may be plowed. So with that though, they are not the top priority. There are some dirt roads that will get pushed off or get plowed, for convenience of plowing to make it more operational efficient to get to the other side of it. So say we got gravel both ends, there's a dirt chunk in the center, and the grader needs to go around 4 miles to get to the other one. Well, it makes more sense to blow through that dirt road each time to make sure that we can get around as quick as possible. There's some other ones where it's not efficient to be hitting it when we still have gravel roads that have snow on them. So if someone does call in, we'll definitely go back and hit that as soon as the priorities allow it, but as per our current policy, the gravel roads are our priority, and then we swing back for those dirt roads, so. So while we're speaking of dirt roads there, we do have some criteria for regular maintenance and upgrading those dirt road allowances. Built into that policy. A lot of that is trails experiencing high weight and volume of traffic, ones with chronic maintenance concerns, trails that provide connectivity between developed roads, and trails that are landlocked or dead end where alternative routes aren't available. We can look at doing some extra work on those roads as administration and determine that. So. Any questions so far?
Councillor Penner.
I have a question, but it may be more historical of nature. I know in our division, in a road allowance adjacent to some of my land, sometime in the last 10 years, the county had a project going on looking at upgrading 2 dirt roads. I don't know the specifics of it, whether it was to bring them up to full road standard or whether it was a road repair. They had stakes on my property, like something was going to happen.
Yeah.
They did a trial stretch further west of our place. I don't know the exact range road that it would have been on. And what came of it? Like, I never did hear what happened, what they were trying to accomplish or what they were trying to find out.
Through the chair, thank you. So in 2016, 2017, and 2018, we did a dirt trail crew, virtually is what we had. So with that crew, I believe there was a committee for dirt roads. They had determined that they wanted to spend some time and money on developing some of these higher traffic roads. So for an example, 234 just outside of town here, 230 just a little farther east, high traffic roads that are used. We ended up building them in an aspect of, yeah, we built a dirt road and put screenings on it. They are not to a specification. They are not made out of clay. They are topsoil dirt roads like you would have seen in the 50s and 60s. The south end there, that was a little quicker method. We were using graders to do blade grades on the west end of the county, trying to move east. Time was not on our essence that year, unfortunately, so we only got about 3/4 of the way, halfway through that program. And then at that point, it was no longer determined that we were going to continue that at the time. So there is quite a few roads in that southwest Acme area that had some work done to them. There's a few around Three Hills area, a few up in the north area, Trochu area, and then I think some of the most recent ones were kind of near Torrington area. So,
Thank you.
Feel free to continue. Thank you.
sounds good. So now we're on to the fun stuff of snow plowing. So our snow plowing priorities, they're set out in our policy, policy 13-2. So our hard surface roads, a minimum of 5 centimeters of accumulation, or icy road conditions are our triggers to send those plow trucks out onto those roads. And they're to be opened within 24 hours of an event. We do send them out very often. We try to make sure our roads are in the best condition possible for all people traveling it. So our second priority would be local roads and gravel roads. So our trigger currently is a minimum of 10 centimeters or more of accumulation on the road to be opened within 24 to 120 hours. So that's that day to 5 days. So currently we have that 5-day allotment. On average, it's taken us anywhere between 3.5 to 4 days to clear a division. So that is pretty standard. That is working 8 to 10 hours, depending on what the availability of those graders are. Just some fun facts on that. The last 2 snow events, I guess some back up a little bit, we've implemented a work order program where we're able to track this stuff a little better. So the last 2 snow events, on average, took us about 370 hours each snow event. That includes hamlets, graders, highway plows to clear up to the point where we can say we are officially done this snow event. So that's just some fun fact numbers that we're obviously going to keep growing and building that information through our asset management program to make sure that we're getting you guys the most accurate information. Hamlets, same trigger level there, a minimum of 10 centimeters. Hamlets with emergency services are done first, so Torrington's First Street, I believe it is, there is obviously our main priority when those snow events happen. I think we are out a little early on that one, but it's just if you start getting it packed down, it ends up creating us more trouble in the long run. So once again, that's that 24 to 120 hours to get those hamlets all open. So that includes all 4 of our main ones and Sunny Slope as well there. So our country residentials, 10 centimeters, it's pretty much the same trigger as your gravel roads. They'll be opened up kind of that when the grader is in that area. Our reservoir sites and transfer sites, they are marked there as deemed necessary. Virtually every time a grader goes out to plow snow, they are hitting those sites. It's just, virtually if you're on the gravel road, the chances are that site has that same amount, and it's just deemed the most efficient to hit it while we're right there. So most of the time, that's how that's accomplished. Private driveways and community halls. So these are, ratepayers can call in and request for their driveways to be plowed. So currently, we're at a cost recovery. I believe the master rates bylaw this year was $220 an hour, a minimum of 1 hour charge. The not problem with it, but the reason it's the lowest priority is usually people call once the grader's gone past. By the time it's processed through the office and paid, it's been an entire day, and that grader might be somewhere else in that division. And so now we have to go back and backtrack. So there may be times where someone might call in to get their driveway plowed, and we might say, well, it's gonna take us 2 days to get there because we still have 20 centimeters on road gravel, or 20 centimeters of snow on a third of the division that needs to get cleared. Or if it's on the grader's route on his way back, we'll definitely hit it as soon as we have it, so. So, onto our gravel program. So currently we have 5 gravel trucks that are graveling approximately 400 miles a year, using that approximately 125,000 tons of gravel a year. Then maintenance crew uses anywhere between 5 and 10 for other road repairs, stuff like that. So our roads are inspected annually and re-graveled every 2 to 4 years, kind of depending on requirements. Some roads are graveled. There are a couple roads that are graveled every year, just depending on the traffic and their base. Some roads don't see gravel till that year 4, year 5 type of thing. So when we're assessing those roads, the supervisors are involved in that, the grader operators are involved in that. We build our gravel program out so that we have a plan well in advance, and obviously with weather, those plans can change. Higher areas with rain can deteriorate quicker than others, and then we're back to swapping those miles around and making the priorities on what ones need it the most. So it's an ever-living program. There's nothing set in stone on it. Some roads might get pushed, some roads might get pushed right to the front, and some might get pushed for 2 years if they can withstand that. So on average, we put anywhere between 250 to 400 tons per mile, depending on width of the road and condition of it. Our gravels that we use currently are gravel sizes 3/4 4-20 spec, or our 1-inch spec, which is a 4-25 spec. That's a modified spec that is all set out in our policy there. So yeah, it's a pretty extensive program. It's we have 1 full year on our asset management program that's breaking down the costs and the amount of tones and everything. So we're getting some really good information out of that. So as we continue to build those programs, we'll be able to bring back some very interesting information for council. So. So we have 9 stockpiles throughout the county. Barrett, Carbon area. Redland is just off of number 9, kind of in between 21 and Drumheller. Granger is just east of Acme, sorry. Hiller is the stockpile just on 27 before the Moore and Cooley. Our Kneehill County Shop site is also used as a stockpile location. The Linden transfer site. We have Torrington Old and Torrington New. So virtually to the Jorgensen side, where our transfer site is the old, I'd have to double check what one's what. But and then we have the Torrington New one, which would be the one right beside the Hutterites there on 263, where our main stockpile of raw material is. So, and then Trochu North obviously is our last one there. So, any questions about gravel before we move on?
Continue on.
So we just have a list here of our paved roads and chip sealed roads. So just so everyone's aware of where they're at. Airport Road, obviously, is Three Hills Airport. Allingham Road, that's the 583 from the 805 out to the county boundary. Buffalo Jump Road is a chip sealed road. Hasty Gore Highway, so that's the 25-1. Sorry, I'm just double checking. I have a different sheet, apparently I forgot to print off my newer one. So, that's split into two there, but that is now an ACP paved road, so we only ban that to 90% for the spring. The Linden Home Road is a chip sealed road. It is a very busy road. PBI Road is also just a chip sealed road, no pavement on that. Linden East and West are both ACP pavement and also very, very high traffic roads, so. And then this is just our, oh, go ahead.
We have pavement going into the elevators.
That is correct, yeah. Sorry, I did not add those on there. We do have two elevators, 32.2 from 21 to the elevator and 33-0 at 21-27 scale. We have about a half mile there. That's paved as well that we maintain. So that is correct, yes. We do not ban those ones, obviously. They're 100% weight all year round. This is in effect of 2025's road bans. Our 2026 road bans will be going in effect on March 17th. So the weights are all the same, 75% on everything other than the Hasty Gore will be 90.
So have we tested those roads prior to putting those bans on, or we're just throwing bans on at a certain date?
We have not tested them. We usually follow provincial. So provincial's already put their road bans on. So we're about a week behind them.
The provincial usually tests their roads?
Yeah, that is correct, yeah. So it's definitely something we can look into in the future. Once again, it's to, go ahead.
Just to clarify that, years ago, they came and tested our roads too. So maybe it's something you can get with the DOTs and see if they're still doing it, or?
Yeah, administration can definitely look into that and see if that's an option. Virtually, the goal with the road bans for us is to protect it from industry. We don't need them destroying it. That's why we brought in that road ban, or the road ban exemption policy, that we're not interfering with agricultural industry. We want those guys to be able to move that material without being hindered. But we don't want rig moves moving down any of our roads when there's the possibility of it. We try to avoid them damaging our high value assets. All roads are high value, but pavement adds that special extra value in there where it is not cheap to fix and redo, so.
Councillor Olson?
Yeah, so we're assuming that the farmer is not wrecking any of these roads? Is that what I'm taking?
Through the chair, that is, all these road ban exemptions are up to us to pull at any point. So we are inspecting those roads and watching them. So if we do start seeing anything damaged, we can pull that exemption and make them go back to those weight restrictions. So it's something that's monitored between the supervisors and our oil field inspector as he's out and about as well. So it's not that we're expecting them not to damage it. They have to apply with how many loads they're hauling, what their direct route is, and that route has to be a reasonable thing. Like, so 25-1, there's 3 different farmers that are landlocked. We can't expect them to go haul through a field to get to the gravel roads, where if someone's kitty corner on a gravel road and a paved road, well, ideally you should be taking the gravel then to the nearest paved road that's not banned. And so when those applications come in, we try to make sure that they're justified on why we're approving that exemption.
So we're differentiating between ratepayers there.
Yeah, through the chair, that is correct, yeah. So we want everyone to make sure that they're using the roads the most efficient way possible. So we put those road bans in to protect that infrastructure. We don't want every farmer hauling up that road just because they can. But if there's a justification, I know PBI is a great example. There's an agricultural business on there that has no way to get anyone in and out. Well, that's their busiest time of the year is the spring. So that's part of the reason that came in, so.
That's always been the issue. This has been in place for years. I mean, if you're landlocked, you can go down these roads, and get onto a gravel road as quick as possible. That's always been in place.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's lots of them around. Lots down Linden Way, lots up our way. So.
It's just a way to track it virtually with this road ban exemption, and it gives them that, they have to carry that permit in their trucks. And if our peace officers or DOT pull them over, they have that road ban exemption from us to be getting to the closest way to get off that road, so.
And now that roadbound exemption, they still have to follow weight limits.
100%. Yeah.
Just so the public is aware, we all have to follow those weight limits on those roads.
It's not through road data. No, the road ban exemption is just through Kneehill County. So, but that is correct. The weight limits of the trucks are still in play. You can't, there's no overloading. It's still 100% of what that truck is legal for, not anything more.
Any other questions? Feel free to continue.
So moving back to bridges there, so just reiterating, so 212 bridge structures. The culvert size is 1.6 or greater in diameter, and that includes smaller diameters compiled together if they're registered as a bridge file. So we have a 5-year bridge replacement plan because we have so many structures and a lot of them are starting to get to that age. We are also trying to prevent replacement and do repairs where needed to extend the life of these assets. As we've seen earlier this year, these bridges are not cheap to repair or to replace, sorry. So if we can do some preventative maintenance with our major bridge maintenance program on those major bridges, then that's the route we're obviously going to want to take. Extend the life of those bridges 10, 15 years type of thing, and then just continue to try to do that to get the most possible life out of them as possible. So on average, or historically, we've allocated about $220,000 a year to that bridge maintenance program, and that fixes anywhere between 2 to 4 major bridges a year, just depending on the repairs required. So that's where we're headed with that one. This is just a quick chart of comparison to other municipalities around us for how many bridge structures they have. So we're right in the kind of the higher end of the pack, but it's quite extensive. So our maintenance and construction crew. So our key responsibilities for that crew are culvert repairs, replacements, bridge file work, minor bridge maintenance, ditching, drainage improvements, brushing of right-of-way, minor road repairs and maintenance. They also support utilities with water main repairs and salt service installations. In the winter, they spend a lot of their time in the plows and hamlet plows and doing snow removal for that stuff, along with brushing. So on the next slide here, we just have a few pictures of projects that we've completed in the last couple of years here. So some ditching, some side slope improvement, and approach improvements, slides there, pictures in the center there. And then on the right-hand side there, that's a bridge file that we did down by Linden, Swalwell area there. That was a 10-meter cut down to that pipe. That was one of the biggest projects we've had since we've no longer had a road crew. So it was quite an undertaking, but we were able to get it done and hammered out, and it went very well. And then just another photo of what a culvert replacement looked like once we were finished with some ditch cleaning there. So our dust control program, as I said there, our policy 13-4 outlines most of the requirements for that. So our 2 products that we use in-house currently are calcium chloride and spec crude. So it's just a dust suppressant, so not all dust is eliminated with these products. there is still, it's just controlling it virtually. So the prices for this service are set in the master bylaw rates, and we try to do a cost recovery. Go ahead.
Mr. McCook, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah, sure. So this isn't actually spec crude. Is it spec crude that's hauled out of special areas? Or is it just an emulsified oil?
It's an emulsified oil.
Right,
that,
it's not spec
we're
crude.
ma-
Spec crude comes out of the ground right at special areas. We don't use that anymore.
I would have to double check with our vendor where
I-
they get it from, but.
Yeah, I know, but
it-
this is just an emulsified oil that you guys are using.
Virtually,
Yeah,
yes.
which is fine.
Yeah. So with,
The calcium, where do we get that?
so we just put out we just got our prices back. I believe it comes from up north somewhere. I cannot remember the exact
Tiger?
location. Not Tiger. I believe last year was Reimer Industries, I believe,
Okay.
or Reamer. Anyways, I would have to get that clarified on
Yeah.
who our vendor is this year, so.
Yeah, going forward, I'd like to maybe relook at some of this stuff because the concerns that I get from my ratepayers and what I see up there is the calcium hasn't been working very well.
So, excuse me, through the chair, we did have an issue last year with some application rates. I don't think it was so much the product as we were maybe a little shy on application rate. So with our new unit there in the photo, we are able to actually determine how much we're putting on. And so last year was a kind of a trial to make sure that we were getting there. So a few of those ones that we did have some concerns with, we did go back and spray again just to make sure, because it was a Kneehill County problem, not any weather problem or anything like that, so.
Counselor Olson?
And what is the percentage calcium chloride that we're putting on the road?
32%.
32? Okay.
And we apply that, we try to apply that about 2 meters per square or 2 liters per square meter. And then, so with that process, so we have a full application, half application. So our full applications opens up first in the year. So with that includes gravel being applied to the road. You need gravel there to make sure that it can mix in and has something to absorb, else you end up with a bunch of potholes. So we'll re-gravel it once the payment comes in. We'll measure the site. Ratepayers are supposed to measure the site out. We obviously double check and verify that everything's correct and that. So from there, we will show up with the grader and the spray truck. So the grader will do 2 passes and windrow that material to the edge of the road. And the truck will then spray water, or however many passes of water it needs to cover the road, and then spray calcium. And then goes and parks on the side. That grader then goes and pulls all that material back across and levels it off nice and smooth. And then that truck then applies water, then calcium again. And that's where we're getting that mixture mixed in there right into the base. And then with that full application, we would go back in about August, roughly, early August is when we kind of start that second application. And we would do, the grader will just blade the top quickly just so it's not rough. And we spray again, water, calcium.
Counselor Olson?
So with roads that we do over and over again with the calcium chloride, do we have to do any salt testing there for buildup? Is there any concerns there, or is there any requirements there?
We have not, and there's no requirements that I'm aware of.
Counselor Penner?
My assumption is that the ratepayer is able to choose which product he would want to have spread in front of his yard?
That is correct. So there is quite a bit of a price difference. So I should have 2026 prices to you guys before third reading of master rates bylaw. So I'm just finalizing those. So last year, our calcium chloride full application was $11.50 per meter. That's linear meter, not square meter, applied. And our spec crude, and I can't remember the exact price, it got dropped. I think the recommendation was 56, and we took the gravel cost out of that at council's recommendation. I believe it was $52 and some change, or $51 and some change, linear meter for that spec crude. That spec crude has a higher cost. One, it takes a lot more gravel originally. Once it's there, it's not an issue. But then we also have to hire a third-party contractor to supply the material and spray it. And then it's a lot more labor-intensive to mix and get into the road. So it depends on the length of them, but I know in the past few years here, we've done 2 different 1-mile stretches of it. And that's a 10 to 12 hour day of just spraying and mixing and going back and forth. So.
Yeah, I'm just noticing in our area, the ratepayers seem, most of them have, in our area, seem to have gone to the spec crude.
Yeah.
It seems to be a more long-term fix from their perspective. That's all I'm commenting on, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has a little bit longer life expectancy in that aspect. Once again, there's no guarantee. There's so many variables that can be put into this product. So one is that organics do not get along with that oil product. So that's why that when we're doing our gravel mixture, that gravel that we're using currently works wonderful with it. It binds like almost like pavement. It's not a pavement product, and I think that's where some of the concerns come is people think it is a pavement. It's not. It gets soft with heat and turning equipment. So that's where you're going to see the most damage on that stuff is when heavy equipment's turning on it and tearing up right at the edges type of thing.
Councillor Cunningham.
Yeah, so I think Councillor McCook kind of mentioned that too, but yeah, last year, I did have quite a few complaints about the calcium application. So I mean, I don't know if it depends on where you've gotten the product for, if it kind of varies, because it seems like some years I get more calls and other years I don't. But I think if our policy, if I remember it correctly, we don't offer a refund on that if people aren't happy. But what I'm hearing you saying is that people do have concerns, make sure they call in, because if it is maybe something, on the county's end, there's possibly something that can be done about it.
Through the chair, obviously we would like everyone to call in, absolutely. The few sites that we did respay last year were determined to be a application issue. So when the calcium comes in, really the only way we have to verify it is weighing it, right? Water weighs 1 pound, calcium, 32% calcium is gonna weigh 1.3 pounds or 1.32 pounds. So we try to make sure that that's always what we're doing and making sure that product's good. I think now that we have our application rate kind of figured out, I'm assuming we won't have those problems this year. Part of it is also the dry weather. The calcium needs that water to bind, so if the road, if we have a dry year, it's not gonna be as effective if we're getting a rain shower every 2 weeks to refresh it. So it's very, once again, it's not going to eliminate all the dust. It is to control some of it and try to mitigate as much as possible, but it will never get rid of 100% of the dust.
Sure.
I can't remember the last few years, but I have had some ratepayers go to quite a lengthy process of sending me information on what other municipalities cost for their spec and for their calcium. So it would be really helpful if, I can't remember if we do it or not, if it comes back with a comparison with other, but they're, asking me why is Wheatland, so much cheaper, or Mountain View or whatever. So that would be interesting information to have as well.
Through the chair, we can definitely bring that, we can get those prices and bring them back and reach out to them. Ours is set on a cost recovery basis. We didn't have a lot of assumptions were made previously. We didn't have good ideas of what it actually cost us. We had rough ideas. So once again, with our asset management program, we have 1 year of dust control under our belt. So actually you're going to see a reduction in the cost of calcium this year. By how much, I'm not 100% sure yet, but determining off of what it cost us last year and even with the cost of the product going up just about 4 cents a liter, the price is still dropping, because when I did my review here, or I'm in the middle of it, our actual operation costs to apply it and do everything have come back cheaper than anticipated. So we might see a little bit of a drop there for sure in the calcium program. I know our quote for spec crude has come back cheaper. I just haven't done the equation on that to see where that balances out to.
Councillor Olson.
Are we mixing the calcium ourselves, or are we buying it as a concentrate?
We buy it concentrated through the chair. We buy it concentrated.
Thank you.
So this is just one of the services I think has been talked about lots in the past years. So private laneway is one of the ones we do offer currently. So that that is grading and snow plowing are two options we offer with that. Once again, based at a cost recovery. So that's based off of our Alberta Road Builders rate minus the profit part out of it. So it's $220 a year, an hour. Once again, these are the lowest priorities, so we make sure we're either in the area or somewhere close by when we're doing them. Snow plowing, obviously, we'll try to get as soon as possible, so. So our shop / fleet maintenance, so our shop's responsible for maintaining and implementing our preventative maintenance program for Kneehill County's vehicles and equipment. So we have approximately 200 assets within various departments of the county. We have also started to, we've brought back recently our Torrington fire trucks in-house and maintaining them through the county as well. So with that, these are all anywhere from planned services to unplanned services to CVIPs to fixing chainsaws, wood chipper, anything and anything you can imagine that needs to be repaired. Our shop, our guys are jumping on it and getting it back into service so that we can meet our service requirement or service levels. So in 2024, we had just under 1,700 work orders. Just around 1,000 of those were unplanned, and that's everything from a major breakdown to a light being out. So we create work orders for all that stuff so we can track it. We had about just under 600 of those were scheduled services or repairs. 2025, that number dropped to just under 1,100 work orders total, about 700 unscheduled, and we had about 1,000 scheduled. So we've kind of flopped those numbers and we're trying to build that preventative maintenance program. So we're being proactive versus reactive and ensuring that our equipment's not failing because of lack of maintenance. We've implemented a new tool organization and tracking program in the shop recently. So that is a huge win that those guys have implemented here. So we know it's not 100%, we're about 90% implemented. So we know every tool that Kneehill County owns, we know where it is, what drawer it belongs in, what barcode's on it, the serial number on it, and then we have a sign-out sheet for that and tracking. Along with that, there's a high level of security involved in that as well. So we put that as a #1 priority with some stuff that was going on and some concerns. So it's a huge win that we've got implemented and we'll continue to implement throughout the county and other areas as well for just making it easy for everyone to have the same inventory program going on. So just some facts about industry. So we have multiple requirements that require these industry to apply for permits, approach to applications, water lines, rig moves, all that stuff. Most of this is all ran through road data, which is a road permitting that most municipalities in Alberta use. So virtually any of those companies would go on there, apply for a permit, and then we would approve or deny it once payment's received as well. And then from there, our land lease coordinator / sign guy goes and inspects those roads. So a rig move, for an example, he will inspect the road pre-move, during the move, and then after the move, and that rig company pays for the pre and post inspection. And then any repairs, they sign a road use with us. Any of the repairs that are needed during that time that their equipment has caused, they are paying to get those repaired, usually through a contractor. If they choose not to fix the roads when requested, then we have different conversations with them. Virtually, your hands are tied until we're up to snuff on all our road repairs and stuff like that. We also do have the option of repairing things ourselves and then billing back to them if absolutely needed. So most 99.9% of these companies are great to deal with, and we have had 0 issues with them in the past 5-6 years. So it's really good to see our land lease coordinator has a really good relationship with all these companies, so. And that goes with the water lines as well in the ditches. He works with them to make sure that they're meeting all the requirements and talking with all the landowners when possible, so. Oh, yeah, sorry. So, in 2025, Road Data issued 641 road permits for us. And we had about 99 road use agreements that we entered in 2025. So road data, they take on a lot of the background stuff that's just time-consuming desk work. Put it onto the computer. It's more efficient for the industry and for us as well. And so we are very thankful for what they do for us and the service they provide there. Oh, yeah, that is also true. They do not charge us, so these permits are at a cost. The cost for them to operate is built into the permitting fee. So they would take, so currently in the master rates bylaws, we just, as you guys just looked at yesterday, or on Tuesday there, $300 is most of our permits fees. We've upped that to $348. That is what Road Data charges to do an application. So that fee, they take the billing for the whole $348 and some change. They take their $48. The rest of it is sent back to the county. So yeah, it's a very, very good program that's very beneficial. So maybe later, Kylie's the expert. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that tracks all of anyone moving equipment in, they call Road Data. We know who's moving heavy equipment where, as long as they're doing the right thing of calling in and putting their permits in. So it's a very useful tool. So yeah, we'll definitely get that pulled up this afternoon for you guys. So that kind of wraps up transportation orientation, unless anyone has some more specific questions on a certain thing before we dive into the next item.
Councillor Olson.
Just one question as far as the AER notifications. Which notifications are they typically contacting you guys for?
The AER?
Yeah, the Alberta Energy Regulator.
So that, I believe, would be through planning and development. We just are the roads. If they're using our roads, then we get involved, type of thing, right?
Well,
AER, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I just seen Alberta Energy Regulator notifications. I was just wondering what notifications have they been contacting us for typically?
I would have to confirm on that one. I am not 100% sure. Sorry about that.
No problem. Just curiosity.
yeah, probably power line moves or,
Well, I was thinking it was more for like spills, oil field spills or things like that.
it could be that too,
because- Yeah, but I just wasn't sure.
They would, so like a lot of that would be crossing agreements and stuff too, right? So those oil field companies put in crossing agreements. So if they're doing a pipeline, it would kind of be a little bit of everyone's involved in that at that point, right? So.
Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? Councillor Cunningham.
Just a comment from me. I know we had a substantial rig move on a road in my division, and there was an RUA in place. And I know we have inspectors and you know, they're looking at the roads. But I mean, I just always encourage people, if they see something or they're concerned about something, you know, our staff can't be everywhere all the time. So just always encourage people to call in, and then if the county knows, then they can deal with it, right? So.
Okay, I guess we have a recommendation. Would anybody like to? Councillor Whitstock.
Excuse me, move to receive for information as presented.
Perfect, thank you. Pardon me? Yes, yes. We will now take a 10-minute break to give Mr. Conklin some time to. No. Okay, we'll need a motion before you. Counselor Whitstock made a motion, so we'll, all those in favor? Carried. Now we'll take a 10-minute break. Thank you. All right, welcome back. We will continue on with 2.3, Policy 13-2, Grader Gravel Service. It's a Mike show today, take it away.
Thank you very much, Council. So, Council has asked for this policy to come back for some discussion. So virtually this policy is what sets our level of service and determines what operationally we need to accomplish as the transportation department and the requirements we meet, the trigger levels. So if council's okay with it, I would kind of like to break it down into sections of summer maintenance, have some discussion on that, and move on to each different section of the policy. So I think the end goal of this is for some discussion to come out of this. Virtually what will happen then is administration will take that information and that discussion, kind of revise the policy, bring back a revised policy for council's future discussion, and with that, bring back any of the operational impacts that may be happening because of those changes that we are suggesting. So I guess if council's okay with that, then we may as well jump into the summer maintenance, as that's the first one. So that's kind of the April to September time, and just hear what changes or have some discussion on it anyways. So.
Councilor Cook.
Do you want us to lay out some concerns? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We've had concerns all along, Mike, but the thing that I want to say before we get going, that was with that's a different situation. This isn't with you. I've seen a little bit of improvement already. There's a lot to go. But one of the concerns, and not the concerns is, but a couple questions that I need to know. When did we go to 10 divisions, and why did we go to 10 divisions? Why do we have 12 graders? There used to be 7 graders, one for each division. Those divisional graders got around once every 3 weeks to that mailbox. Why are we going to 12 graders, or I don't know the 12, but why are we having so many graders?
Through the chair. So I believe that was a kind of a thing that happened back in, if I remember correctly, 13, 14 era. Virtually we dropped from 10 hours a day during the summer to 8 hours a day, and level of service also increased. So to meet that and do a 4-pass rotation, so when we're blading, we're doing a 4-pass rotation. It takes approximately an hour per mile to do. The reason we went to 10 graders is obviously the less time on the road, you needed more equipment. The reason we have 12 is we have 11, plus we keep a spare grader in case we have those breakdowns, anything, warranty issues happen. Finning used to be great about having a grader to you in 24 hours if it was more than a 24-hour repair. Doesn't happen nowadays. You gotta have your own redundancies in place to make sure those rotations are continuing. As to why we have 10 divisions now, it's just the level of service that we've been maintaining since last change in, I believe it's 2013. So definitely something we can, go ahead.
Okay, and that's what I was wanting to get back to, the level of service. The level of service has dropped in the last 15 years. That is a given. I've seen it. Our roads aren't where they should be. When I see graders coming back to the yard at 1:30 in the afternoon, we aren't putting 8 hours on it. We aren't working our time periods. It's just not there. Yeah, I mean, the graders are driving for an hour to get to some areas. They're not even doing a rotation. Once they get up to an area, they only do 3 miles here or 2 miles there and travel another hour to get to a different place. So I have a hard time with the level of service being there and the quality of work. And I do believe if we were back at 10 hours a day with 7 graders, we'd have a better outfit running, and we'd have a more accountability. That way then our roads are basically getting done. They aren't getting done. Now, that being said, I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna back off a little bit on that. You're running them now, so I'm okay with that. I wanna see what's gonna happen here.
Yeah, so through the chair, so each division obviously has that 195 kilometers averaged out. So that rotation definitely we try to blade in the most efficient way possible. So yeah, there is times where graders do travel because we bring them back every night to a remote grader shed. Thefts, breaking into equipment, they just are a time-consuming nuisance. That being said, so for an example, one of the things that needs to be, or that is implemented now, and it has always kind of been there, but never really, like you said, accountability hasn't been there on that. If a grader's traveling an hour to the north end of their division, well, the expectation should be that that supervisor's saying, hey, you drove an extra hour to get out there, you're working 10 hours while you're in this area of your division. Because if a grader's working 2 miles out of their grader shed, they're getting 8 miles done for sure in a day before that 8 hours is up. And when you're talking 8 hours, we're talking from the start of their shift to the end of their shift. That is pre-trip, fueling up, everything, right? So I think that's where a lot of our accountability is moving to, is making sure those supervisors are making sure those operators are doing everything the most efficient way possible. Administration obviously can bring back the operational impacts of what it would take to go back to 10 divisions and what it would take, or sorry, back to 7 divisions. There would be an increased cost on that as well, because our overtime would obviously go way up. But like I said, anything is possible. We can review anything council wishes. But I think a lot of it comes back to the accountability, making sure that people understand these are our policies, these are our requirements that we're meeting that is set out by council themselves. And we have to do what we need to do to meet those policies.
Councilor McCook.
Well, I think we got to look at a lot of stuff, and I don't want to get into this right now, too much of this, because I'd like to go, and I can dig up some more information on all this, but that being said, we aren't doing 4 passes. Lots of times we're doing more, because these guys are, when you're grading a road, you're either blading gravel, you're not going after grass. These guys have been doing both. If you're gonna go after grass, move the gravel out of the way. If you're gonna bring the grass in, and like we have in the fall, and then we gotta drive over, it's washboard because it's sods, we're doing more than 5 passes trying to get rid of that grass. So there's also, that comes down to accountability, also knowledge on how to blade a road. And I mean, you're absolutely correct, making these guys, holding these guys accountable. And I mean, we gotta start doing that. And I do believe you'd be more efficient on 10 hours a day. And because one thing that I don't understand is grader work is like dirt work. It's construction. This isn't like an 8-hour job. We have to work when the weather's there. And in order to get these roads looked after, so it's not always washboard, 8 hours isn't doing it, because they're not even making 8 hours.
Yep.
And I know you know where I'm coming from on that.
Councilor Woodstock.
Well, the way I see it, it's weather conditions more than anything. These hot, dry summers that we've had, you can run a grader over a high-traffic road, and by the time he's done that road, the next day it needs to be redone because of the washboard that's there. You're not gonna fix it by going over it every day. I mean, it doesn't make the problem any better. It probably makes the problem worse. If you're running 10 grader routes, 195 miles per kilometers, okay? So if you want to cut that down to 7, now you're running 278 kilometers per division. Extra 100 kilometers. So now what you're doing is you're taking longer to get through a rotation. I don't think that's helping anything either. The rotation is the rotation. I'm pretty sure that a grader operator does not go over there for half a day and then decides to go over there for half a day. I haven't seen it in my division, but then that, maybe there's places where it happens. I don't see that happening though. I think when you get over there, you spend the day over there and then you come back and you work your way back towards the shop. You work your way away from the shop, you work your way back from the shop. I think it is being run rather efficiently from my understanding. I don't want to give the grader operators an extra 100 kilometers per division and then expect them to do more than what they're doing now and end up with better roads. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know, but it makes no sense. If you give somebody more work to do, expect that to happen in the same amount of time. I mean, I think there's a set miles per hour that these guys run graders at. And whether that's 5 or 6 miles an hour, I don't know what the number is. But if you expect them to do more and do it at 8 miles an hour, you're gonna end up with a crappier job to start with, and it's not gonna last as long and what have you. And I haven't seen in my division grass being pulled in to the road and then being worked out. I mean, I've seen it on dirt trails because, I mean, that's what happens on dirt trails. But I think between the ag service side, doing maintenance on, or spraying road edges to control the grass to keep it from moving in, our mowing program, making sure that it does stay in. It just makes no sense to me to give these grader operators more kilometers to do and expect them to do it in less time and expect a better job at the end of the day. Our level of service is 10 grader routes because that gives them 195 kilometers. If the weather conditions are good, they're done in 3 weeks, but there are times where weather is an issue. You can't go out and grade. Or you start grading and then you end up with rain coming in spots in the county, and then you can't grade anymore because it just makes a mess. So maybe that's why they're coming back. I don't know, or maybe finding a different spot to go where it hasn't rained as much. But we don't have these general rains that we used to have that covered the county. We have thunderstorms all over the place. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think our grader operators are doing a fine job. But can it be better? I don't know. I think they're doing a great job.
Thank you. Councillor McCook?
I agree with you on the weather. I'm not saying that we should be going and doing the extra 100 miles at 8 hours. I think we should be running 10 hours a day, 5 days a week on these roads, and with 7 graders. And I will take you up if you'd like, and I can show you where the sods and everything are still on the road right now, if you'd like to see it. They are, in my area, they are. And I can take you down into Laura Lee's area too. So.
Councillor Olson?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say, most of the gravel roads that I've been on in our county are a lot better than some of the counties I've been through, because I do travel through. So I want to say that. I think, is there problem areas? Yes, there's high traffic roads that do get washboard, and the weather and the timing and everything does have something to play with that. But I would say also, I have seen sods pulled up, especially on, it's only on certain roads, but that one going down through Entice there through that valley there, and it's kind of a unique road too, so it's tighter and there is growth there that does come up. So I mean, but on the better, higher grade roads that aren't that, most of the time I haven't seen the sod, but I have seen sod pulled up on some of those roads. So whether it's just the condition of the road, the size, because it's a little narrower in there. But again, also, I'm still in favor of, regardless of, you know, as good a condition as they are in most cases, if we can always find efficiencies, or if this hasn't been looked at or evaluated since 2013, say, maybe there's some efficiencies in there that we could, you know, look at a little bit.
So through the chair, thank you for the discussion on that. So we definitely will look, or can do a cost analysis on it and see what the operational impacts are going to be. It has always been kind of looked at on and off, but this is deemed at the moment the most efficient way to meet our current level of service, which is that six rotations per year. So when we're talking efficiency and graders hopping all over the place, yeah, absolutely it does happen at times. We've tried to limit the amount of that. So per se, graders up northwest corner of its division and it gets a road complaint, high traffic road, washboard. It's the third call we've had that day because washboard shows up very quick. Supervisors are there now that deemed or go in and assess that and assess the safety priority. Is that road more of a priority or should it wait till that grader's back in that rotation, right? Breakdowns happen, something might happen. There's a million things that could happen why that grader had to hop around, but we do our best to keep that grader in the area that it's in all day. And then in aspects of that, all these divisions, yes, we have 10 divisions. In each of those divisions, it's broke down a little further. So when you're blading, snow plowing, blading we're on that topic, you break it down into your little sections. So Division 5, for an example, Greater Division 5 on the east side of Three Hills here. It's very clearly broken out into 3 divisions on the map. You have 583 north to the north boundary. That's an area that grader would plow first, or blade, and work in that entire area. The next one would be the south of 583 to 27, and then 27 south to its south area out to the Orkney, right? So we're always looking at those efficiencies internally and trying to make sure those graders are not wasting time of hopping all the way out. Once again, weather plays into the factor of, yeah, if the grader's out in the Orkney area and it gets rained out but can blade north of Three Hills here, well, our option is, well, no, that's not our rotation, or we're gonna go blade that because we need to blade roads. That's what we're deemed. So that's where that supervisor and that operator make that call to hit a different location to ensure that we're still out there blading roads and not falling that much farther behind because of that isolated shower. And that happens more often than not. It's isolated showers at this in the past few years here. The sod being pulled in absolutely does happen. Various different reasons. Sometimes they just can't help it. Sometimes they're trying to eliminate that lip on the shoulder of the road. I think with the road tours that will be happening here in the future, we can go over that a little more in detail in person there, and I can show you some of the reasons it might happen. Is it always needed? No. Sometimes it's just a necessary evil to fix a different problem. We obviously try to eliminate it and not cause that issue as much as possible. We have done quite a bit of training with all these grader guys so that the end goal with all of our divisions is that you don't know when one grader operator stops and the other one begins. They've all been through the same training programs, and I would say in my 12 years here, this is the best it's ever been in the aspect of you don't know who's blading what division anymore, where back in the day you knew when certain people were in a division versus others. So we just continue to build that program and give the staff the training and the capability to succeed. Without the proper administration helping them out, then we're just setting them up to fail. So.
CAO Cochran.
Thank you for that. Through the brief to all of the committee of whole, through the deputy brief, sorry about that. Just wanted to go back to the shifts. We legally can't run 10 10-hour shifts unless we have 2 shifts, because we have to pay overtime after 44 hours, which would increase our cost to do these roads significantly. So if we were moving to 5 10s, we'd need to have 2 shifts. Most operations that I've seen in my 30 years in government will run a 4-day 10-hour shift. So waste and recycling, for instance, in Calgary runs Tuesday to Friday, because Mondays are holidays, it makes more sense. But if they were to move to 5 10s, they'd have to have 2 shifts. We can't do 5 10s. So we have to follow the legal rules for HR. So if we were to move to 5 10s, we would have a Monday to Thursday shift and a Tuesday to Friday shift, or if you wanted to move to the weekends. But we would want to come back with some cost recovery on that, because it may not look better, it might not. But we would need to do the research in the back end.
And I think what I'm hearing from Councillor McCook is that research would be nice to know. I don't think this problem's going to get solved overnight, but hopefully we can figure out a plan going forward. I just have one question before my 2 colleagues here. I had a question about blading dirt roads. One ratepayer come to me and said, please stay off my dirt road, because he farms on both sides, farms right up to it, and he'd like the grass to just grow over and take over. I don't know what implications we might have if somebody goes down that road and, I don't know, gets stuck. Is it a problem? Do we need to keep grading it? Kind of read through the policy, but it doesn't lay it out too detailed.
Through the chair, those roads are signed as unmaintained, so people do take a bit of that liability in their own hands, going down those undeveloped road allowances. So if ratepayer wishes that they own all the surrounding land, yeah, we could definitely have that chat with the supervisor and the grader operator in that area. Once again, you're very dependent on who's in the area, because
Right.
if multiple people own land down that road and one wants it bladed every week and one wants it never bladed, you kind of have to meet in the middle somewhere. So it's hard to accommodate on all the circumstances, but we do the best we can. If a road's grassed over and it's in good condition, we usually try not to blade it anyways, because the grass on a dirt road is better than a mud hole.
Right.
But that being said, it's very area dependent. Some people want their roads bladed all the time. Other people don't want us touching them ever. So,
Right.
and that even goes for gravel. So,
Okay, thank you. Councillor Penner.
Yeah, I guess that was part of my comment too, Richard. I mean, Counselor. Yeah, sorry. The comment that I got multiple years ago was that for every ratepayer that says, please stay off the road allowance, there's a ratepayer that says, I need access down that road allowance. But the other comment I would make is that I don't know personally that our roads are necessarily worse than they are 25 years ago. But I do know, when I look at what most of the farmers are driving for vehicles, what the oil patch is driving for vehicles, we're putting significantly higher loads on all of our roads than we were 30 years ago. We're putting significantly more tires on the road, significantly bigger axles. We're hauling on roads in conditions where traditionally we probably didn't haul on the roads 30 years ago. That would just be my comment.
Councillor Olson.
Yeah, and my comment would go more back to Teresa or CAO. If we did look at stuff though, maybe there's a possibility of we could get rid of a grader and the maintenance that's required to keep that up for the year, and then see where that offsets on. I understand the shift thing, but I'm just saying if it hasn't been looked at since 2013, there is some things that maybe we should just review as due diligence. Was my opinion.
CAO Cochran.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor Olson, for that. It's critical for us to look at all of our services and determine what is the best way to move forward. I got some information back, and when Mr. Al Hogan was the CAO here, they were finding that the supervisors were making less than the operators because of overtime, which is why it was shifted to 8-hour shifts during the 5-day week, because we were paying so much in overtime. So that's just the history I got on that. But absolutely, we would want to do a fulsome review of our services, all of them, to determine, is this the best way to do it moving forward? I'm not saying 5/10s is off the table. It's just how do we do that with our staffing and make sure that we're not paying excessive amounts of overtime, especially during snow events. We will, in the background, take a really comprehensive review. We'll look at best practice, and we'll come back with some analysis and some options for council. We'd be happy to do that.
Thank you. Councillor Woodstock.
I guess it's been stated the policy's been the same since 2013. That being said, it's not that it hasn't been looked at since 2013. It has been reviewed, we have looked at it, and I've been on council since then. And I know that we've looked at those policies, we have refined them a little bit maybe, but you don't change what's working because it's only been since 2013. We always look at our policies to see if what we want as council is being accomplished by the operations side. So you're right, policy really hasn't changed much since then, it's because it's been working for the way council wanted it to work. This is a new council. Maybe you don't want it to work the way it used to work. I'm just saying it has been looked at.
Okay. Thank you.
So through all of the committee of the whole, this is the map of Kneehill County and all the things going on. And because I could blow it out, but it would make it smaller. But you can see on the side legend, the blue would be where our service rigs are, permit locations are red, green is heavy haul. So we can see very clearly that there is a lot going on here and a lot of stuff on our roads. I'd like to I wonder if road data would be able to give me a difference between 10 years ago to now as to what's been going on, but I would love to include that information as we do our analysis. But you can see it's out of control.
Yeah, that is interesting to see the permits that are within Kneehill County. That's amazing.
I was blown away. I was like, what? So yes, sorry. Carolyn's getting mad at me today because I'm not behaving properly. But yes, when I got my orientation on this system, I was completely shocked by the amount of stuff going on our roads, the amount of rigs coming through. It's pretty extensive, and so we would want to look at what the difference is and why our roads have gotten worse. But I would agree with Council Olson. I do drive all these roads, and when I hit Kneehill County, I breathe a sigh of relief because I'm a bit safer. So thank you to our operators.
Thank you. Okay. Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess through the chair there for council's recommendations, I guess. So for summer priorities, I guess the main thing we want to look at then would be what the operational impacts would be to go back to 7 divisions versus 10 divisions, and we'd come back with some information on that. But from what I'm understanding, the current level of service, the 6 rotations a year, are working. Or not working, maybe, dependent on the area.
I just know that I've had some people, and one individual, he's pretty diligent with his tracking, and he claimed that, I think it was August 14th, he saw a grader, or about that time, and then didn't see another one until December. So he was concerned with, I thought we were on a rotation, and I said, we'll look into it. I know it's on the review plan, so it's not to say that one didn't go by in the middle, in between, and he missed it, but definitely want our ratepayers have a look at.
Through the chair. So that's definitely something that when that happens, or if a ratepayer has a concern, we'd definitely like them to call in. With the budget being passed now, we're going to be implementing our GIS system into all the graders. So we'll be able to know where they are, and we can pull pretty extensive data back on when they've been in an area, how many kilometers they've traveled in a snow event or blading. So we'll be able to look back and make sure they're doing that. And then also those graders are now going on to our asset management work order system. So we'll be able to be tracking a little better there and stuff, so.
Good, thank you. What else you got for us?
Well, I guess we'll just move on to the next one, which would be winter maintenance and priorities. If council has any concerns about the trigger levels, currently administration's concerned with the current trigger levels, I guess, that I would be recommending to council is we only have an accumulation trigger, right? So that doesn't equate to drifting. So it could drop 9 centimeters and it could drift it all up. According to our policy, there is no trigger for us to go out. I think the caveat of as deemed necessary by supervisors would be a very easy way to determine that one, and putting that accountability on supervisors to make sure their divisions or their areas are passable and good to go. But I'd love to hear what council has to say and recommend. So
I guess for myself, that would be a good suggestion as per supervisor, but also, and I guess this would play, depending, I know I had quite a few calls over that Christmas snowstorm that left some pretty good drifts. But in saying that, that's where I would reach out to the CAO to pass down some information that, yes, we've been having some calls, so we need to keep that line of communication open for, or have the ratepayers call into the office and report, yeah. Councilor
Yeah,
McCook.
I'd like to see something like that, but I mean, the accountability is where it's at. I mean, you say you have supervisors, yeah, okay. They need to be held accountable. That being said, they dictate to the grader guys, but you're here now. We should hold you accountable also, because you gotta make sure those guys are out there, right? And the CAO. I mean, I agree with that, but you know what is expected, and I've seen the difference in the last two snowstorms, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I guess just in regards to the last two snowstorms there, sorry, I have my notes somewhere. Some of the, I would say, accountability changes that have happened, absolutely. Everyone's accountable. CAO Cochran is accountable to you guys, council. I'm accountable to her, and it just gets passed down the buck to everyone's accountable to do their job. So last few snowstorms there, supervisors have been out early, making sure, assessing where the graders need to be, whether they need to be out there first off. Once that's determined, they are sending those guys out. Those guys are working overtime during those snow events, and weekends are being worked. As per our policy, it is we got 5 days, right, to clean up. So last snow event there, February 28th is when the snow event ended. You need to work the weekend because it takes us on average 3.5 to 4 days to clean those divisions. So without working a day on the weekend, there's no way we can meet that service level. So that is one of the bigger changes that have come back into play in the last, that kind of fell away for the last 5 years. That is come back now and will continue to be there. We will do what we need to do to meet those service levels and those deliverables.
Okay, thank you. I do have to give kudos to a plow operator there on Saturday. I was taking my daughter down to Three Hills, and one of the plow operators was stopped on the side of the road. I didn't see him anywhere, so I just stopped to make sure he hadn't slipped and fell. And he was just cleaning the windows off, but yeah, thanks to him for being out there and keeping that Hasty Gore Highway clean and free.
Did you guys want to reimburse me for pulling your grader guy out?
Okay, another question. How much snow fence do we put up annually? Do you know off the top of your head?
Through the chair, the last 3 years we have put up 0. So it's been determined that in the past few years it hasn't been worth going in there. That being said, there's still the option to always work with the landowner about doing ridging with the graders. If we find there's somewhere drifting, get a right of entry sign, go in there, drift up the windrows with the grader. That way we're not fighting the spring weather trying to get it out. No one's tracking in and out muddy fields. I know weeds and that are always a concern nowadays too, right? So not everyone wants us in and out of their fields with trucks, so.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, like I say, I don't want to get too carried away in this, but I want to look at a few things and I can make some notes on it. But I mean, as far as the snow fence is concerned, you're better off, in my opinion, going in and ridging. We could never ever, no matter where we put snow fence, we could never get it out in time.
Okay. Move on to the next section.
Yeah, if there's no more questions on snow removal or triggers or anything like that, then the next one would be our gravel program of, like we discussed in the transportation orientation there. we average about 400 miles of gravel a year to be re-gravelled. Use approximately 125,000 ton. Our specs are obviously in the policy here as well, so if council has any conversation on that.
Councillor McCook.
Yeah, it's like I had one before. It's still that 425 modified spec of 1-inch gravel. That there, I don't know where that came from. I don't know why we would have that in for road gravel, number one, especially when all our crushes and all our contracts are 420, 3/4 inch. At the, I don't know how it got into the policy, and I'm not really gonna go any further on it. There's no sense of spending time. But when you get a spec like that, and it is dirty, and yeah, there's lots of fines, we don't need more fines on our roads. We need rock. And I can take you out there right now and show you exactly what this 425 or 425 modified spec does. You get a little moisture on it, you get a bunch of traffic on it, and you know exactly how you make a base, how you make base. The fines just rise to the top. So now all we've got is sections, especially going up the hills, that are solid mud because they're so slippery. That's why I'm disagreeing with that 425 spec. And I mean, there's nothing we can do about it right now other than to the next crush. We could look at it and see how that goes. But as far as I'm concerned, for road gravel, we need that 420, 3/4 inch.
I guess just some clarification on that. So the 425 modified spec, it virtually is a designate 2 spec with a few minor changes, right? So the reason we went to that is when we did the first original crush out in Torrington in 21, we did a 225 spec. There was no elimination of the natural fines that met the spec. And then when we started crushing the 420 spec, we were eliminating between 25 and 30%. So at the time, only gravel source we have, still the only gravel source we currently have, that Kneehill County owned. So with that, we would be putting up 25 to 30% of that 100 or 1,000,000 cubes in reject or fines. So that's why that was determined to mix those fines in. We definitely, we have, administration definitely heard your concerns on that. For calls in on that gravel being on the roads, we virtually have had zero to my knowledge on that 425 going on the roads. It is a sandier natural fines. It's not a dirt base. The only reason we know that it works really well and it's not very dirty in that aspect is that our oil product binds really well with it. But yes, the fines do come to the top a little more. It does pack. It holds the roads together. But definitely hear council's concerns on that, and we can definitely look at some options, even going to a 420 modified spec, just to get it down to that 3/4 and make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck out of that pit.
Councillor McCook?
Yeah, that being said, that's what I'd like to see. Now, when we get into the stuff like that, I mean, there was concerns about this gravel. They just fell on deaf ears and never got brought forth. So that's how that worked too. So thanks.
Okay, Councillor Olson.
There obviously was different spec used for the road build that was on, was it 24, not 5, but maybe 24.5. 24.5, okay, yeah. Obviously that was a larger sized rock. I loved the way that road build went because the base was really good. There obviously had to be a larger spec, is that not correct?
I would have to look back, or through the chair, I'd have to look back through the specs for that road build, but I'm assuming it was 1.5 inch rock that was put on there for a sub base and then re-gravelled with 3/4 on top. I know we re-gravelled it with 3/4 since, but that bigger rock, yeah, it'd be a 40 mil virtually.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me, but it made a great base.
Yeah.
Okay, please continue.
I think After that, it's, the only area that we have left that we didn't really discuss would be the private laneways, as long as everyone's still on board for having that in there. There is some liabilities, obviously, going into those laneways with graders, but I think it's a potential that we could look at swapping it to using different equipment and bringing that back for council's consideration of using different pieces of equipment to do it. I think it's been something council has wished to maintain that level of service, so.
Councillor McCook?
Yeah, I've got a few people, especially some elderly people, they need their driveways done.
Yep.
And I'm not sure about the dollars and cents either. I mean, we subsidize a lot of stuff, but I mean, for $200 an hour, I mean, that's quite a bit for a pass up and a pass back that isn't even 100 feet roughly. So, I mean, I think we need to look at it. We need to continue that service for our ratepayer. And not everybody's using it anymore because the yards aren't big like to get your graders in anymore, so.
Councillor Olson?
Just, we don't do any of these in the dark, do we? Like this is all done during the day? And the only reason I am saying that is because when I lived 3 miles east of like Arnie Loma's there, I paid for that service. The grader came in the dark, hooked onto my car with the ripper and dragged it down the driveway. This would have been about 1994. So I'm just
Long
making
before
sure
me.
that we don't. So, yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have parked your car there?
Anyways, I'm just worried about liabilities like that and that won't happen when I'm on council, please.
So, through the chair, no guarantees we're gonna be there in the light. If there's a driveway and it's 4 minutes from the shop or wherever that grader is and it's pitch black, well, that's the most efficient time to hit it. I think the biggest concern with the graders is the size of them. The not knowing what's underneath the snow is obviously a huge liability. I think the best thing administration can do is bring back some options on, obviously council wants to continue with this level of service, so we will be bringing back some options. Likely what it would be going back to is a skid steer. A guy in a truck and trailer will load it up and then hit those driveways when they come in, once the priorities for that skid steer are completed. Just for reference, 2025, we had, just let me double check. We had 14 private laneway requests to do. So it's not that we're having huge numbers of it. I don't have the breakdown of how many of those were repeat customers in 25. It also was a lower snow event year, so.
One of the concerns about that, and I can speak on that a bit, is the ratepayers that have talked to me have said it's too much money. That's why they're not doing it. And I mean, the people that are basically doing it are the elderly. They don't have the tractors on the farm anymore. They don't have a neighbor coming down to help them, so.
Councillor Cunningham?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Mr. Conkin wasn't alive, I don't think, in 1994, and I'd like to know more about why Councillor Olson's car got towed. There must be a story behind that, but no, I'm with Councillor McCook. I did really advocate for that to stay in this policy because, as you said, we do have some elderly folk that are living, and I think we want to encourage people to continue living in Kneehill County as long as they can. So how that looks, if it's a change in equipment or whatever, I'm happy with that. But yeah, for me personally, I just think it's a service that we want to continue. And it, you know, like you said, it is a cost. We are recovering that cost. So, but something I definitely want to see carrying on going forward.
CAO Cochran.
Thank you for that. Through all of council, I love the idea of a snow angel program for our elderly population that can't maybe do this stuff on their own. And we can look at, like Mr. Conkin said, how many we're doing, how many per year we get requests for, how much it would cost us internally. But that can be put in in council's policy that administration can make the decision to support our residents should they need support without cost. And so we can come back with what that will look like and what the internal cost will be.
Perfect, thank you. Councillor CAO
I just got
Cunningham.
promoted. I got promoted. Excellent.
Councillor Cunningham.
Buckle up, kids. You're in for a ride now. Yeah. So just on the desk control, I don't want to go too far down a gravel road, but like we have like for Kneehill County, if we consider it a haul road, it's 20 trips per day or for more than 5 consecutive days. So a question that came to me last term, we had industry using one of our roads that was determined never did have a development permit. And if they had, there might have been a dust control component to that permit. But I guess when does it kick in that, like, if industry, if we're holding Kneehill County to that threshold of 20 trips per day or 5 consecutive, what's the industry standard then for that? Because it was really hard for me to then have to tell the residents in that area, it doesn't really follow policy, and I don't know what the trigger is for a road use agreement, so just curious on that.
So through the chair, yeah, that is correct. So that one, those thresholds are for our internal hauls. The road use policy that came in September of 25, I believe, outlines that. I do not recall the numbers off the top of my head. I believe it was 10 trips a day. We do have some, the policy should be coming, likely should come back sooner than later, as it is heavily weighted towards dust control in that policy. About if you hit 10 loads a day, the dust control needs to be applied, but without any specifications of where it should be applied. There needs to be a lot more involvement of, instead of just the policy, with staff. It's determined by our land lease coordinator of, okay, if this is their haul route, you need to put dust control here, here, and here. Because we have no way of really enforcing or knowing whether it's 10 vehicle trips of that one particular commercial vehicle, or is it 10 different ones from 10 different companies that aren't going to the same site. So it's kind of a, it's an interesting one in the aspect of a lot of municipalities use their bylaw because that's how you enforce it. So currently working with community, or the peace officers and planning to make sure that we have that policy. I know it's a very new one that just got passed, but I think there just needs to be a little more in-depth and some clarification on things. So virtually, if there's a haul route and our land lease coordinator currently determines that it needs to dust control, then dust control will be applied. Obviously, we're going to try to take the route that affects the least amount of people going forward. I know though there was a few in Division 5 there that were affecting quite a few people just because they were the strongest roads around that could handle that amount of traffic. So it's we just got to work with the industry and our land lease coordinator and myself to make sure that the proper amount of control is going on.
Okay.
Yeah, and like we said, there's been some changes, so we're starting with a clean slate here. But yeah, for example, like with when the solar project went in my division, it was part of the road use agreement to provide dust control, but that was never followed through with. So again, we're working with a clean slate here, and we'll, as we know better, we do better, and yeah, so.
Councillor McCook.
Yeah, I think with all of these policies that we're discussing today, especially the graders and the gravel and et cetera like that, we need to, it'll be a continual thing that we need to bring back quite a bit. Because like I got to get my head wrapped around a bunch of stuff too here first, because everybody does, right? And once we see the stuff, I mean, it's just great to have this discussion. I'm sure you guys get a general understanding of where we're coming from, kind of deal, but we still have to modify those policies. So it's ongoing.
It is. It has been a great conversation. Any other comments, concerns? Anything else to present to us?
Through the chair, from administration standpoint, no. If council's happy with that discussion, virtually administration's takeaway from that is we're going to bring back some cost analysis on whether we're what it would cost to have 7 divisions versus 10 divisions and the operational impacts on that. And then I think costing for private laneway is the other one, some options for that, and possibly some amendment. The policy may come back with some of those amendments regarding as per supervisor's discretion, just based on snow removal and putting that accountability on administration on making sure we're meeting those requirements that aren't currently set out in the policy. So. Am I missing anything from council's point there?
I don't think so.
Sorry, one other one would be the gravel is looking at some, as that tender will be going out here shortly, trying some different specs, obviously a 420 modified to try to eliminate as little as possible, but be that 3/4, I believe is kind of the direction I've heard from council that we'd like to go.
Councilor McCook?
One of the other things I forgot to mention is on that elimination of your 425, on your 425 to get down to 420, that stuff makes great screenings. Great screenings. So that can be sold. And I'm not sure, it might even, depending on the size, whatever, it might even make sense.
Okay, thank you. So I believe, yeah. We have, looks like Mrs. Vanderkroel has typed up a motion for us. Would anybody like to? Councillor Cunningham.
I will make the motion that the Committee of the Whole recommend to Council to receive the report for discussion and direct administration to return a revised policy 13-2, transportation grader gravel services for Council's consideration. No?
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm not sure we need to revise the policy yet until we get the information, or is that part of the information? Is that?
I just assumed that was part of the
Okay.
information.
Yeah, through the chair, I don't think we'll be making revisions to the policy currently. We'll come back with those operational review of what council's looking for there. And then the private laneway stuff would be through master rates bylaw virtually, right? There's nothing really in policy saying other than we do it. All the costs are outlined in the master rates bylaw, so.
Okay, we're just waiting for a revised. Read it again? Please, thank you.
So I will make the motion that the Committee of the Whole recommend to Council to receive the report for discussion and direct administration to come back with further information as discussed in the meeting.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right, moving on to number 3, closed session. 3.1, third-party business. Anyone like to move to go in camera? Councillor Olson?
I move that we move into closed session at, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong time, at 10:50.
10:53,
Yeah.
third-party
Yeah.
business, section 19.
Yes, thank you.
Let us know when we're not live. Oh, yeah. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, welcome back at 11:32. If there's nothing else to continue, I guess we will adjourn meeting.
So are you gonna